Mm-hmm.
This person that you guys know, that's when I first, you're not going to be like your dad. And with saying that, all the things that he was not, that's what she put into me.
Mm-hmm.
Accountability, no excuses, being dependable, not being afraid. Your dad is a coward.
What's good, everybody? Welcome to the Kings Can Move On podcast. We are right here in the fortified studios of Kansas City / Bahamas. And you sitting here with Big Frank the Tank, aka Big Reno, aka Kansas City's finest. What's happening? What's up, Big Jake?
What's up, my man? What's up? This is Big J, aka Wood, aka Casey the H Town.
Yeah.
We on the Kings Can Move On podcast. We got a guest tonight. We got one of the original four horsemen in the house. We got the Griots. We goes by Big Moo, goes by Wade, goes by Heshimu Johnson. What's up, man? How you doing, Heshimu?
Man, greetings and blessings to everybody, man. What's up with you, G?
Big move. What's happening, man? How's things down there in that H Town? How's the H Town life living?
Man, you just got to stay out the way. Basically, that's like the motto every day, man. You go get to your point B, man, and come back all at the same time. Just stand out the way, man. Stay in your lane and stay out the way.
Right. Now,
Yeah.
man, I saw before we hit record, saw you had the piano behind you, man. You said you won't play for us, dog. So, I'm just gonna. I know you can throw. I know you can play them. But I just wanted to see if you could just show the world, not just the city, but the world, Craig.
Man, we're gonna do that another time. Like I said, man, this just is for teaching purposes only, but I definitely guarantee y'all, man, I exploit myself for the benefit of, kings can move on. Kings can move on, man. I'm definitely gonna exploit myself for y'all.
That's good.
Look,
That's what's up,
listen,
bro.
we know Moo is multi-talented. You know,
Uh-huh.
Moo been in the music biz. You know, he's been coaching the youth. He's been doing a whole lot, man. So
That's what's up.
you know, you know what we do on here. We get together
Uh-huh.
with other men and just talk about real issues, right? We
Other
want to talk
kings,
about some
man.
stuff.
You gotta correct that, brother. Other kings. We all kings
Kings.
up in this. Yeah.
That's right.
King.
Yeah,
Correct.
yeah.
Correct me, sir. That's
Yes,
right. That's
sir. Yes,
right.
sir.
Yeah. We talk about stuff that we dealing with, that we dealt with. How we persevered, how we got through, so it can help somebody. That's our whole goal. So we like to talk about what made you what you are. Talk about your kind of background. Talk about what you're doing now. So you know, I've known Big Move for probably about it's been over 20.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, since I
I
got to
developed-
Houston, you
Uh-huh.
know, I started hanging with Moo, started hanging with EJ. That's how we formed the Four Horsemen. We used to be in them
Yeah.
streets. We be in them clubs, man.
We was some little sluts, boy. We was some little thoughts out there. I'm talking about wherever they had it pumping, man. We was in there, man. I'm talking about all, man. I never knew what partying like in the middle of the week until I met you guys, man. I was a weekend warrior. Man, we'll find a late. We could find Tuesday night. We'll find a Wednesday night, latest night. Thursday night, we might be get in free or some drinks. And Friday nights, it's to guard your daughters, man, because them horsemen was out, man.
What would you say it was in the early 90s, man? What was the club to go to back then down in H Town?
Man,
Was it Phoenix?
No, that was up here.
No,
no,
we
we had a
had
Phoenix.
we had
We had a
Phoenix
Phoenix.
down here.
Okay,
We
okay.
had
We had a
Phoenix.
Phoenix.
Uh, where you want to go to? North Side, you have Bone Shakers. Remember Bone Shakers, man?
Bone Shakers, bro. For the north side of Houston, we had going to the south side, we had cornbreads. It wasn't a parking lot action.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. Make it,
uh,
make it crump. Jamaica, Jamaica.
Oasis, remember Oasis?
Oasis. Yeah, I remember
That was
Oasis.
right around the corner from
Wow.
y'all, probably the triad over there. So it was a few spots, man. Houston always had a plethora of spots to hang at, but man, I'm talking about the main event. What was the spot we was going to in the Galleria?
Wasn't that well, remember they used to have First Fridays, remember we used to go to that. Remember the Polo Boys had
That
them
boy
boys.
he shut his eyes and had some
Hey
real good
man,
memories on that.
First Fridays. I'm talking. I used to go there with my Easter suit on, boy. We two piece. We you know that they broke my cherry in on going out getting dressed up. You know, wear church clothes to the club. I mean, I'm talking about these boys. It was just I had to get my etiquette on, man. So you know, I go off on them, man. You know, and you know the whole game just opened up for them. I said they opened my mind up to messing with the working women. You know, yeah. So I mean, yeah, it was a good time in the '90s, man. The horsemen, man, we ran through it all. It wasn't no type of terrain that we didn't want to conquer, man. Out on the streets.
We would get suited and booted and hit them streets, man. We had a
But
good
that's
damn
and they
time.
time frame though, Steve. This is the reason why a couple of y'all want to, you know, is the reason why y'all dad is not. Straight up, 'cause I remember a couple of one of your earlier guests. I remember, you know, I remember when he met his entry into the baby daddy game. I remember that, you know, it's them
He
first
met her at the club. I didn't know he met her at the club.
It was right about that time frame when we was slut. Yeah, when we was slut. Yeah.
I forgot about that. He met her in the club. That's right.
Yeah, that was right there about it was one of those little executive suites off of 59 before you got to 610. I can't think of the name of it, but yeah, it was one of those spots where they had the meatballs and chicken wings off in there, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, they had the little appetizer brunch going on.
Yeah, man, you boys working on these fat ass cigars in their mouths and shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Good
remember
old days
that.
though, man.
Yeah. I can't remember the name of that spot, but I know you're talking about Route 59.
Yes. That's what that encounter happened at.
Yeah.
Man, that's what's up. And man, we're gonna hit on I want to hit on that how you got into the rap scene, dog, because I think that you was a real big figure down there in that H-Town doing your thing down there, man. But we definitely gonna hit on that.
Okay.
But I wanna go into your upbringing, man. Tell me a little bit about how Moo grew up. What was the deal?
Well, man, it all started with just with my name itself, you know. My name is Heshimu. Uh, I grew up in a particularly, I want to say it was kind of militant in a way.
Okay.
You know, a lot of attributes of character was kind of available, and they were upheld with discipline. You know, and saying all this at the same time, it was a fatherless home.
Okay.
You know, see this type of dignity and identity came from my mom. My mom was the firstborn of all of her siblings, and I look at that too. When you look at that position of when children are born, that first one, it depends on the parenting, the male and the mother. Wherever they are, that first child is essential because it gets a lot of data that kind of gets sifted through when the second child comes through because you get, you know, the parent is more attentive. You know, everything has to be clean. You know, you get more intent at the parent when you're the first one.
Yeah. Did your mama raise her siblings?
Not, it wasn't to that extent, but it was pretty fair. My mom came out of a balanced home where it was a mother and a father. My grandfather, that was the main male figure in my life, and he was more of a, you know, the old school type, you know, the provider, you know, big guy. You know, he worked hard. He wanted his kids to be clean. You know, he made the money, and my grandmother spent it, and they was a good team because they put it into their children. You know, that's where the dignity to the education. So that's how my upbringing really kind of started as far as becoming being developed as a child. Now, I'm not the first grandchild, I'm the second one. My mom is the oldest child, and then her sister, her younger sister, she had the first grandchild.
Okay.
But my mom was more of a disciplinarian in our family as far as character of the male, of the boys. You know, it was we had to, you know, education was high. self-respect was high, dignity was high, just a lot of parts of those things when it come into a character of a man, that was very that level of love was prominent around here. We had a lot of that.
If you're enjoying this podcast, don't forget to subscribe and like us on YouTube and rate and follow us on your favorite podcast platform.
A lot of that.
Yeah.
So she instilled those values in you. Okay.
Yeah. My dad, outside, I look at, what my dad wasn't really much around, but I just always remember my mom and hearing her saying that I'm not gonna be like him. You're not gonna be like your dad. Be like your dad. And see, I didn't understand that when I was younger because, as a young boy, you see TV, you see families, you see something that you want to identify with, male energy. So as a boy, I couldn't really see the things that she was saying I wasn't going to be like.
Yeah.
So that was how it started out. It started out by my mom, and I ain't gonna say that's how it always was. Because my dad was just never a constant in my life.
So, and it was you and your brother, right? You just had one brother.
Yeah, I got one brother. Me and my brother 11 years apart, man.
Oh damn. Okay.
Yeah. So it's like
you kind of raised him.
I had to, you know what I'm saying, because we got the same dad, and between those 11 years, that man wasn't in our house.
Wow.
The same dad.
Same dad.
That's 11 years span.
Yeah. See, that's the thing about my mom. The dignity that she implied on us, she carried herself as well. I've never had a stepfather.
Okay.
So my mom didn't never have boyfriends where I could see them. So like I say, the different things that I saw that was important to me, it stuck with me. Outside of what other young men got a chance to see or they experience, mine was very intentful. And my mom, she walked her talk.
Yeah.
As far as being a parent, the dignity that was supposed to be shown by the masculine energy, I saw it in my mom. If that makes sense.
Yeah, so you said, so you did mention your grandfather, right?
Yes, sir.
Your grandfather was a role in your life too, though, as far as a male influence, right?
When we say influence, you see the format. You see a man and a woman, but teaching how to be me seeing how to get data as far as being a young boy and having questions about me maturing from a young boy to a teenager. My grandfather was just he was stern, but he was more of a provider. He was quiet, and I saw his presence and picked up data from his presence on, it coming through my mom. And see, so in so many ways, it's like the data is there and the energy is there, but it gets translated differently when it comes from a feminine energy, when it comes from your mom.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you hear guys say they learn most of the game from their mama and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Learn how to deal with the streets. But see, my mom, it was always education. It was always accountability. It was always about, avenues of character all the time. All the time. I couldn't make bad. Like I said, I made my first C when I got in the 10th grade. I couldn't make bad grades. I couldn't make C's. So it was always tight. Discipline, order, respect, accountability. At that time, back in those days, we was 5 years old walking home from school. Walk home from school, get yourself in the house, close the door, and sitting out and wait for mom. So even as a mature man, I look back on my training and my outlook, it was a lot different from my counterparts. And it hasn't changed. I was raised just not to make excuses, accept failure. My mom would put odds in front of me, like, I use the example if I was hunting. She would give me one bullet and I would have to make 3 kills.
Oh shit.
But that was the type of odds that, the type of pressure of executing a task. I grew up in that type of environment. And
Did y'all grow up in the hood?
Oh yeah, definitely. I grew up on food stamps and welfare, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like I say, because there wasn't a man around. My mom, she was actually a welfare caseworker. She used to work and help women get on food stamps and welfare.
Mm.
But after I guess the relationship between my mom and my dad, and she wasn't really going to accept less by accepting another man in our house. I'm just the recollection of hearing her talk to me. The reason why it was like this, the reason why it was tough, because I'm not going to have a man inside this house with you. You see what I'm saying? So, but
Right.
that challenged me to understand my identity and why that presence wasn't there in my home, but I had to get the data and the information from my mom, if that makes any sense.
So, man, one thing I learned, and it took me to my 40s to even understand, to know this, but I found out in my 40s that back in the 60s, 70s, one of the reasons why black men weren't in a home back
Mm.
then was because, first off, they couldn't, we were already paid a lower wage than everybody else in America.
Mm.
But the other thing was, if if the woman had to file for state assistance, they didn't want that man in that house. If they found out that man was in that house, you was off state assistance. Did you ever? Did
Well,
your
you know
mom
what?
ever talk to you about anything like that, or was it her decision as far as?
No, I saw that developing.
Mm-hmm.
So because my mom she was in a working class, and then she went through the states when she was unemployed. And I remember, like, we would be waiting on a welfare check, and we would be waiting on food stamps. And this is before welfare was even connected to child support. This
Mm-hmm.
was just the system that was being
Put in
provided
place.
for women, yeah, at that time. But
Mhm.
I do remember seeing it change. I remember hearing her, and her counterparts, other ladies, where that one thing kind of got interjected into the whole program, where the man, we'll reduce or disconnect your supplements
Mhm.
or your assistance if the man is in the house.
Yeah.
Mm.
And I would see where our neighbors where they would have a boyfriend, but when the inspector come by, they would have to take and bring his clothes next door and hide them in our house, like he wasn't staying there, and get
Wow.
yeah. And then when the inspection leave, the man get his stuff and he go back. So I saw that in real time, like between 75 and 80.
Mm-hmm.
You start seeing the interaction with the woman and her energies to comply to keep the man out of the house. I was living that in real time between 78, like I say, 78, 85. That's when things kind of start changing in our house, in my household. And going back, you can see when these systems like welfare, this is before WIC,
Mm-hmm.
this is when, the system that I know that we participated in was food stamps and
Shit.
level.
The kind where the food stamps where you had to go like this, tear them
Yeah,
motherfuckers off.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. See, back then, you used a big enough, a large enough food stamp bill, man, and the store didn't have change. They had to give you some cash back.
He had to give you cash. Yes.
Yeah, man. So that was the little move right there. You know what I'm saying? That
Hell
was the
yeah.
move back then. My mom, she didn't have no cash. She'd send me off. She'd send me in the store. I go in there and get a 25-cent pack of gum, and they had to give me some cash, and then she go buy some cigarettes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
But that was a
so
game, though, man.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I listen. So my mom worked, when I was growing up, and my grandmother didn't work. At that point she was pretty much just not working. My grandfather kind of hustled. So I remember food stamps, remember the whole nine. Um, but what I don't remember, so you're saying that an inspector would come through the home
Yes.
and I don't see that one. That's foreign to me. What was that about?
Okay. Well, they would come and inspect. See, the place to stay in, the apartment, the home that they were renting in, the townhome, whatever it may be,
Mm-hmm.
is provided for the mother and the child. That's what in the state guidelines. This is what this system or this project is. This program is this is for the benefit for. But at the same time, this woman, she a young woman, she got to have a man, and her man, if if she's provided with home and food, it's just like now in these times,
Yeah.
you gonna find a brother laying up, but what they would do was once a month or like once they would have like some type of inspection, and they would come and check each room, look at it and see if it's any underwear, shirts, or any items that belong to a man, and the woman would have to account for that. And you would have an apartment complex filled with these situations. Of course, it's male men going back and forth, but you know,
better not have none of them clothes in there.
you go around it. You go around it. And this is a reality. This is a reality that it started happening. And as a young kid, you don't understand it. You just know that your neighbor bringing her man clothes over to that's Mr. Charlie stay next door.
Right.
Stuff's gonna be over here for a little while, and then when the later truck leaves, Mr. Charlie come back to the house and take the stuff back. But that was I started seeing that around about that time when and see, like, well, my dad, I'm what they consider a bastard. Excuse my French if I can't say it.
Don't worry about it. Reno cuss all damn time. Don't worry about it.
What the hell you mean I cuss all the motherfucking time? Nigga, you better stop all that shit.
I'm one of them. I'm what they consider illegitimate. My dad was married.
Oh.
He was married. He was married to another woman somewhere, and he hooked up with my mom, and that's how I come into play. Okay, and see, at those times, like I say, from the type of household that my mom come from, in those times, especially on the street in this area, that was almost like a black aisle thing. Women want
talk about
it, or they had to be married. Or So like my mom was the oldest, but my aunt, my oldest cousin, she was married to his dad. See, but my mom wasn't. So it was like my mom took a lot of, she walked around in a lot of ridicule that I later to understand now. The reason why she was making the moves, I didn't understand it when I was younger. Her pride of because she was the oldest child and she felt whatever the pressures that were the stigma or the dogma at that time that made her feel less of the woman that she was. It kind of consumed her a little bit. She wasn't married and she got this child here. So I know now that was one part of the reasons why she poured so much substance into me, because it's like just because she didn't get married, I'm the result don't mean that I'm a stain. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's why I look at it now and I understand why she poured into me at the capacity, how she did it and why she did it and what she was doing. And like I said, that was what was kind of going on at those times, versus the way things are now. But it's kind of similar, where a woman, she gets pregnant, she have a child, and when the system kicks in, it adds.
Fuck up. You can say it. You can fuck up some shit.
Yeah. The residual of it becomes bad when tones and stuff like, if a woman got to choose between a roof over her head and what's, her resources, that's going to be help added momentum to keep the man out of the picture.
Yeah.
And after time passed by, like I said, because me and my brother are 11 years apart from the same man. I went through like I said, by now I'm 11 years old. I'm really not interested too much in exchanging energy with a daddy now. At 11 years old, it's other stuff to be worried about now, especially where I was, where I had to be so mature. It's like how I got subsidized, how I got exchanged, where my yearning for a father figure, I was happy to just have a roof and the resources,
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, just because he ain't here, because he's not here, that's why we got a roof.
Yeah.
Ain't that crazy?
Because he's not there. Yeah.
Just because he's not here, we got a roof over here.
Yeah.
Just because he's not here,
Yeah,
I can
yeah.
eat
The
just because
trade-off is, yeah, no
I can go
father, but I got resources.
Yeah.
So yeah,
and over time,
yeah.
his absence and what was exchanged for his absence was accepted, appreciated.
Did you see him a lot when you was a kid?
He came around, I wasn't a foreign to him. I knew him, Now, one thing about that was my mom. She made sure that I stayed in the act with that side of the family. My aunts, his brothers, his sisters.
Hmm.
So I interacted with. It's like I had the other side of the family. He just the piece that wasn't around. He was the piece that wasn't there. I would go and spend summers with his sisters' children, and I would see him in a capacity that he kept going to visit his nieces, and I'm there, his son now.
Yeah. And he like, oh, hey.
Yeah. And I go to the store, and I get me some donuts and some chocolate milk, and $3.
Yeah.
And I might ride with him, but there never was much interaction. And I can honestly say that I received nothing of any substance from my biological father.
Have you had any kind of relationship with him at all in your?
Could you repeat that?
Have you had any kind of relationship with him at all?
I mean, well, I call him, as I mature, it kind of, as I was going through the teens and I'm growing up, I graduate with full scholarships. So, I wanted to make sure he saw me and I was okay. I don't know what his outcome thought it was going to be the usual outcome when males don't have their dad, but I was excelling. So his presence, see, I think that's probably why I didn't really acknowledge it or notice him because I was excelling all the way, all the time he wasn't gone. Like I said, I was a great student. I was a great musician. I played 7 instruments. I had full scholarships. I played
Nice.
football. I ran track. I was on the swim team. So I had dartboards. I had microscopes. I had telescopes. It's like, his presence wasn't there. Now, as a boy, you yearn emotionally for, but not like I said. It wasn't a depression. It's just the natural uh, circulatory emotion that's supposed to be, after stop with your mom. You're looking for that masculine. You look and you got a dad, but after I got a certain age, I didn't. I'm already having sex. I didn't have to have that talk. We kind of, as males, we kind of
Figured out.
we figured out with our dad. You know what I
That's
mean?
our
So
homeboys or something.
yeah. And I grew up. Like I said, I grew up in the hood. So now I'm gonna say this one thing. There's one person I left out. I spoke on my grandfather and I spoke on my dad, but my mom had a younger brother. The youngest, it was three of them. My mom was the oldest, and she had a younger sister, and the baby boy was her brother, which is my uncle. Now that man, my uncle Junior, he played the role of my masculinity.
Okay.
You know,
Time
and
out
that's
though.
what
Everybody got them a junior. And somebody in every black, I don't know about white or Latino families, but in
right,
every black family they got a junior. Somebody
right.
named Junior on there.
My uncle Junior, man, and that's where my masculinity come from. That's where
Mhm.
I learned how to keep my 10 toes and hold down my square. This
Yeah.
thing was, this ain't got to do anything about no gender, but the one rule that was drummed into me by my uncle was you're not gonna be no punk. And at that time, that term wasn't tied to whatever gender appeal or place.
Homosexuality and nothing like
Right,
that.
right. It wasn't tied to it. It was about you in your square, and you better not fold. You better not run.
You're gonna be
You know,
soft. Yeah.
but that he made all of us hard. That's what I say. So the type of atmosphere, my mom, she had so many bases covered. But when it come to you know girls, boys, riding with your homies, you know, you know, learning about the streets, I got that from my uncle.
Okay.
I
Okay.
got that from my uncle, and being blessed like this, when I look back on it now, that's why it formed me into wanting to be a great father because the type of man that I am and the things that I stand on and I believe in, but the things that I know, I didn't get from my dad.
Yeah.
And I ate wholesomely. You see what I'm saying? I ate proper. I ate with respect. I said, yes, sir, no, ma'am. I know how to get up and cut the grass. You know, I played that role, and I think in real time, because my dad wasn't there and there wasn't a stepfather in my home with my mom, she made me a man. I had to take the trash out. I had to get on top of the roof and sweep the needles off the roof. You know, I had to go wash the car. I had to go and prune the flower bed. You know,
Mm-hmm.
and it wasn't abuse. You know, my other kids was riding their bikes and playing outside. I was working in the house.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, and in that transition, my little brother came, and now I go from being a kid trying to become a young teenager, and I had to go revert back now and have the responsibility of the same man that created me.
Mm-hmm.
So you know, my path through it is I think back on it, man, it was different. It was tough. It was hard. I didn't have much fun. The only time I really had fun is when I was a part of an organization, you know.
Yeah.
But as far as it's been, it was always teaching, learning. That's what it always was. And that what the type of person I am, that's the only atmosphere I think that really matters, especially in times of chaos. You
Well, how
know,
would you say that that has affected you today as far as it look? Because I want to fast forward a little bit because you know you didn't have your pops in your life,
right.
and you still have become a success in spite of that. So I appreciate your story because we're talking about kings who move on and being there for their kids, but one thing that you didn't have that father figure for in there, but you still.
Well, you know, I look. It's my mom, man.
Mm-hmm.
This person that you guys know, that's when I first. You're not going to be like your dad. And with saying that, all the things that he was not, that's what she put into me.
Mm-hmm.
Accountability, you know, no excuses, being dependable, not being afraid. You know, your dad is a coward. You know, and I would hear those things, and it wasn't. You know, you have some others bash me,
Yeah.
but when you can hear things and agree with, and it's like a reality,
Yeah.
that's what I had to deal with, and that's what I became. You know, because I had every right. My dad, he's beat on my mom. He used to fight my mom. You know, he's put them hands on her. You see what I'm saying? I remember one of the last times before, like he was on and off. I remember him staying like when I was like between five, I said between 4 and 5. He was around, and then he was gone. And then, like I say, 6 more years, my brother born. So, but you know, he wasn't in our home at that time. He'd come by. Now, what they was doing while they was late, you know, it got exposed 11 years later. You see what I'm saying?
Right,
But
right.
but even at that time, you know, I don't think my dad was a great student. All the things that I am, I don't know much about it. I don't know what type of person he was coming up to school, but I just know that the things who I am, my mom, I feel like I'm a test, like I was created, you know, because
Mhm.
the clay I was cut from, I'm no parts, you know, it's like I come from a totally different tree.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
have every excuse to beat on women. You know, I got every excuse from what I saw. You see what I'm saying? And
Mm-hmm.
we have peers and friends that kind of accept where they come from.
Mm-hmm.
They use it as an excuse, like I'm just like my dad. You know,
Hmm.
and but I can't say that.
Okay.
I can't say that. So um, and not falling back or retracting from the identity. When I look at myself in the mirror, that's all I hear. I hear my uncle saying, "You're not gonna be no punk," and I hear my mama saying, "You're not gonna be like your daddy."
Yeah.
And with that, it gives me a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
And with that now, you are a dad, right?
wow, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
You have your
yeah, man.
own now, right?
I got my own. Man. I got one biological son, and I have two stepchildren.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
What's the ages? What's the ages of your children?
man, bro. Now that's what we starting to get old, man. Let's do some math. Boy, I think he was born in 94. So he ought to be what, 28? Gonna be 28 this year, I think.
Little Moo is 28.
He ought to be 28 this year, I think. Yeah.
Okay. Now I do know from our history that Little Moo is from your. Were you and his mama married? I don't.
Yes, yeah. Trying to do what was right, bro. Like I didn't want my son to be embarrassed. I didn't all the negative stuff that I know that I come from.
Mm-hmm.
All my actions were to correct and fix and solve.
Yeah.
So yeah, I married her. I married. You know why I married her? Because she was my baby mama.
Mm.
How old were y'all? How old were y'all when they got together?
Man, I dropped out of college, bro. I was on a full scholarship, man, music scholarship to PV, and that's the reason why I dropped out of college, because I didn't want to be like my dad. I didn't want to be absent in my child life.
Yeah.
On a full scholarship route, I dropped out of school. I had like a 3.4 GPA.
Damn. What year was that? What year?
192. 91, 92, man.
Was you a freshman, sophomore, junior? What?
Sophomore, man. I'm on them streets. I'm looking good. I had a little money. Was riding slab. Figured I could go off of there without no con. I'm buying bottles, trying to ball. Stupid. But you know what though? I'm gonna share this part of the story. That's when I needed a man in my life.
Yeah. Tell you cool out, calm down.
Yeah. Those signals of freedom and abilities and not respecting that skeet. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm talking about? Don't want to get up. If I had some, just those who get up and respect the skeet. Now, and see, it kind of changed because I said 91, 92. My mom's brother, he passed away in 92.
Oh, and that was your.
I was in college. I got my first tattoo. He was a guy like, man, you get a tattoo. Say, man, no, he was the man that whoop my ass without a belt, and I'd be like, yes, he ain't gonna use it. He don't put them knuckles on me. That was. But when he passed, I didn't. That was my voice of safety and correction. That I yielded to.
So when he passed, you had no safety net. You was just flying free at that point. Like, I'm free.
Hey,
myself, as we say, And
when he passed, man, I started smoking cigarettes. That's how grown I thought I was. You know what I'm saying? You just start doing some old dumb shit just because ain't nobody gonna say don't stop doing it.
Right.
I didn't like cigarettes but I used that excuse because he passed. Now I'm smoking cigarettes.
Right.
But I look at that's when I started. That's when I stopped having success. And what I mean is, I had control. I didn't have a voice of reason. And that's when I became a man, bro. And when I say a man, not in the gun, when everything I done told you, since you don't want to listen, the universe finna get you.
Yeah.
And that means now you finna get out here, and out of all the little smart little females I mess with, I go to the party and meet this
woman, other woman that wasn't like that.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean? And I did, and accountability, all the stuff that I was raised with. I wish my uncle would have been like, say, man, I wish I had somebody around me at that time to say, just stay in school, bro, and finish, man. But the pressure of not wanting my son to see me like I see my dad, or for it to end up where the way it is now, I guess we'll get to that. But I got a son, man. But we everything that I poured into him, up until that point, everything was great, until child support, and I know I've kind of fast forward that, but I drop out of school. I start working. I get a job. I get on the streets. I become a felon. I was buying a house at 24 years old.
Yeah.
I wasn't, so I had a couple of cars. I was buying. I was still knowing how to execute and succeed, but I didn't have no direction.
So you say you was a felon? You was hustling?
Man, yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, dropping out of college, and got a child on the way, and my mom on food stamps and welfare still at the time because I got an 11-year-old brother coming up behind me.
Yeah.
So there was no place, and like I say, failure just that was I didn't understand. I didn't to this day I still have problems with understanding failure. Failure is just not something I understand well.
Mm-hmm.
And that's another thing where like being a real man and understanding that just by upbringing, like I told you, my uncle said you can't be no punk. Your mama said you're not going to be like your daddy. So my mentality about real life not really clear. That's a facade. I think you're not gonna fail.
Let
But
me let me. I'm sorry, Mo. Let me ask you this, brother. So one thing you just hit on about you became a felon. I want you to just talk to the young cats and let them know how that even came about, um, how that route you shouldn't have taken, but how you've overcome that to this day.
but to this day, bro, like I said, when I lost my uncle, that was the only voice of correction that I had. See,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of kids today they have a voice of correction, but I don't want to kind of muddy the waters on them understanding that if it's anybody younger. Listen, if you got somebody in your life, you got a male, some masculine energy anywhere in your life, and they talking to you and they telling you about a trajectory where you can land because of where your actions are out there on the streets, just listen to them. See, because I didn't have nobody telling me, I'm on the street, I'm in these streets, I was successful with numbers, you buy at this price, you sell at this price, so you know how to accumulate and add and,
Mhm.
and, and get funds. But the risk, the chances, the people, the circumstances, the energies, all the stuff that come with being on the streets. And like I said, my whole reason was, I wasn't trying to eat. I wanted to take care of my son. It's
Mm-hmm.
because I just, wanted to have the best, and I didn't want to be without because I grew up without.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't want to be the reason why a life is created, and you can't provide or take care of. Or you want to take it through, or have it experience negative, uh, 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 a life without resources, just
Out there
ample
catch you.
resources. So I got out there and ran the streets, man, and got jammed up in a few situations, and it's not worth it. It's not worth it because that tag of, and depending on what type of crime you're on, you know, whatever wages you putting up, you know what you work. If you're a thief, if you aggravated robberies, if you're a drug whatever the crime may be, it's not really worth it, especially when you're trying to come up for. But see, I didn't have that clarity in a voice to make me understand that.
Yeah.
When we was coming up in the '90s, that was just our nature. Aggressive black men being rebellious, you know,
What?
and at the same time trying to be a father. I didn't have another father or someone that was in that spectrum to tell me it's not worth it. Somebody to tell me to just stay in school,
Mm-hmm.
get your degree. There's more value in your education than you dropping out of school.
Mm-hmm.
And you know
So
what? You know what? That is, a lot of our results are based on our environment that we grew up in, right? So, like you said, you didn't have that figure in your life to say you, hey, stay in school because if you do, it leads to X, Y, Z. Look at me.
right,
You know, I think about, my own upbringing. When I went off to college, neither my dad or my mom went to college. They didn't have that experience. They wasn't like, this is where you can end up if you go to school. I just
hmm
went because I went, you know, had fun. I quit. Reno went. We was there together. I don't know if he had anybody in his head telling him, stay in school, finish because of XYZ. He stopped and going. We had
hmm
you you look around you and you're looking for examples, right? And you're like, okay, show me why I should do this. You know,
right, right,
you said stay in school. Why? Show me an example. I didn't have any. So I'm
right.
like, why? I'll go get me a job.
Yeah,
You
I'm gonna
working.
go hustle. Hey, I'm
Yeah.
gonna go hustle.
Yeah.
Right.
Nigga,
If you
everybody
seeing,
calling for yeah.
yeah, if you seeing cats in the neighborhood hustling with money,
Cars,
cars,
women.
and you
Yeah.
thinking, and we think about movies and TV, we see it, what's real life. What we're seeing is what we're like shooting for. It's like,
Yeah.
you know, we didn't have examples of educated college graduates, men in our lives.
Right, right, right,
That wasn't a standard, you know.
right.
Bro, I'm thinking,
Standard was, like you said, I got a child to look after.
yeah.
I got a
Yeah.
little baby I got to take care of.
And
Like,
I'm
Yeah.
thinking about it now. Like I think when I was in my teens, I don't think I've known anyone, any male that went to college. I think, and I know that my aunt messed with a guy for some years, and I think he may have went to college, and I think he's successful now. You know, done doing his own insurance firm down in Georgia somewhere. But I think that may have been the only black guy that I've known when I was a kid
Right.
that went to
right.
college.
And that pattern continues, right? If you don't have that influence in your
Example.
life,
Right. Influence, right.
right, then you're gonna go with what you see. So hence why me and this man decided we need a podcast, man. Because there's still the same pattern of our young black men coming up without the correct influence, and they're just making their own way. And it's
Well,
like,
see,
listen,
I'm a counter with that because
yeah,
not a counter. I'm gonna agree with you because that one thing, the identity, the black man, no
mm-hmm.
matter what title he may have, the black man is a second class citizen. And I say that looking back from the times of how I got developed up until now, there's no true identity. And the only identity now are really kind of is that's accepted that masculine energy, especially at the time I seen it, either you're gonna be a rapper,
Mm-hmm.
a football player,
Yeah, an athlete.
or you killing one of your own, or you're getting killed in your
Mhm.
neighborhood.
If you're enjoying this podcast, don't forget to subscribe and like us on YouTube and rate and follow us on your favorite podcast platform.
Mhm.
Those are only identities that we have, and the most organic identity that we really need is the man in the home.
Yeah.
That's one identity that for the last 30 years, bro, has been controlled or blurred. And this is why it's been repeating itself. And the residual damage is starting over and over and over again to where, even when young men have men in their lives, because I'm at that point now where all the experience that I have, when I do try to come in, I see a young man that's going through the same things that I was going through, and I see the trajectory of his actions.
Yeah.
But that identity of voice of reason and experience is no it serves no value. Even right now, I'm talking about 2022, you can tell a young man, like I said, I have a son, and you can tell him something particularly straight 100. And because that identity has no popularity,
Hmm.
the voice of correction, teaching, when it comes from a masculine energy, like I said, I wouldn't been able to identify when I was growing up because my mom was so dominant. But just that from just an identity for all males to have something to look at is not there, bro. Just like
So
Mr.
man,
Willie, the neighbor that had to move his clothes, and he was
Yeah.
a cool guy, bro.
Right.
That was one of the guys I learned how. He kind of showed me how to tie a tie. He showed me how to, you know, take ties off. You know,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
in my mind at that time, he got to hide because his woman finna lose his place if he there. So that's what I'm saying. The identity of a man, bro. Even right now to this day, as us as being brothers,
Yeah.
we don't know how to identify with that character of a man that's in place of substance that can teach and protect, You know, it's foreign. We're almost
And,
a threat. We're almost
and
a
the
threat.
one of the things, dog, that I'm like I tell everybody, I ain't perfect at all. I had my two sons before I had my daughter. And
Mm,
sometimes I look back and I think, and I get saddened because
mm,
my oldest son, yeah, he went on to be a rapper, and had some success in doing that, and as well as owning his own business, dabbled in the drug game too, whatever. But um,
mm.
my middle son is struggling through his life right now, trying to find himself. But my daughter is a honor roll student, not eighth grade, honor roll student in three sports, plays piano. And so I kind of I'm looking at that, trying to do some evaluation as far as I was I was with the first one, and we had a tumultuous relationship in our 20s, bad, bad. And when we broke up, she did some things to keep them from me. But when I got with my second one and we had our child and it didn't work out, we still co-parent with that child, and our daughter is more successful. I don't know where her path is going to eventually lead. Hopefully it continues ascension. But what do y'all think about that, as far as us, as far as that male not being as successful as our black females are being right now?
But see, you said it. See, while you were dealing with your boys, you were still a boy.
Yeah.
Your daughter getting a version of a man.
Yeah.
See, so the substance is a lot more it's a lot more valuable because you pushing data of maturity. Your first child, you're a boy raising a boy.
19, you're right.
Mhm.
So this is what happens. Just like now, me and my oldest son, we don't have a relationship because, hey man, by me running the streets, the kid had everything.
Mm-hmm.
I had Jason kids, he had Jason kids. I had a cross piece with diamonds in it, he had a cross piece with diamonds. He had Mickey Mouse beds, light covers, shoes. He had it all. My oldest son was, you know, he was the reflection of a child of a nigga running the streets,
Mm-hmm.
you know. Uh, but that's not what that didn't solve or fix anything. I was a young boy at that time, but now, and I'm looking at you, how you looking at the difference between the span of when you're oldest versus your last. Now, into my stepchildren, 13 years ago, my oldest is probably 14.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I was a lot more mature. I was a lot
Yeah.
more had more data, and my my stepchildren got a grown man as a father.
Yeah.
So our relationship and that posture, even though I come into their lives a lot later, uh, the substance of my presence is more of a father to them than it is with my biological son. And
Mm-hmm.
see, like I'm learning and understanding now how that changes, but it still feels funny, like I said, because my oldest child, I sacrificed so much for him. I dropped out of school for him. I become a felon for him.
Mhm.
Battle child support for him, and we don't have no relationship.
None at
He's
all.
living. Now we don't have no relationship. Uh,
So, so he's 28, right?
hmm
He's a grown ass man.
yeah.
So, has he ever expressed to you why there's a disconnect, or why you guys are not on the same page or not even have a relationship? Have you had
Well,
a talk like that?
it's kind of out in the open, man. The type of man I've been, I'm not the type of person that don't deserve the love of a child. There was no abuse. There
Hmm.
was no neglect. There
Right,
was no absence. There
right.
was no lack of support. I coached Little League football, man, for 15 years. He played on a couple of my teams, man.
Hmm.
I got kids that I didn't coach, his peers. Nobody can figure out. I know what it is because the bar that's set, like I said, because my son got more of the climate that my mom put into me. You're gonna be smart. You're gonna be this. You're gonna be that. He and then he got that from, like I said, a masculine energy. So I got it from my mom.
Yeah.
See, he got it from me, and for some type of reason, I know that he feels like the stubborn part. He don't want to acknowledge the bar that's set for him. So this is the reason why. That's his way of being rebellious by not us not having a relationship, so he can meet the bar. Since he's not around, I don't have to hold him for anything. If that make any sense.
Yeah.
Well,
It's
that's what I feel
basically
anyway.
you have a high expectation for him. You hold him to a high standard,
Yes,
and if he doesn't want to deal with that, he doesn't want to deal with you.
that's basically you hit it right. That's it right there. That's
Yeah.
it. That's it. And the relationship time has passed. It's kind of weird that that's the reason. I'm not incarcerated. I'm not dead. I've never refused him. He named after me. You know what I mean?
Right.
He can't go nowhere in this city and not be acknowledged. Once he say his name, he's going to get a pass because of the type of path I've led for him. But for him to acknowledge that, and I think that's a lot of tampering from what his mom. I'm up to that point. He always had an outlet and an option to love. Your daddy hard over there, but you ain't got to do what you got to do at your daddy house over at your mama house. So a child gonna choose the easier road.
He's around all day.
Yeah, but as you get older and you're a man, there's certain things required of you, like clean up, pay some bills, take the trash out,
Be a
you want
man.
to be a man. And this is where we collided, because I expect for you the most bare essential of the essence, the reason why you're here, and I know what I invested in you is masculinity, responsibility, accountability, and you can't perform any of those things for yourself, not for me.
Do you think that y'all's relationship would be better today if you and his mother would have had a better relationship, even though y'all broke up?
But she's a toxic. Look, just the way it is now. This is part of her design, and um, because she didn't have a dad. You see what I'm saying? And see, so the submission of a masculine voice. I would set standards. You're not making no C's. Huh? That's too hard. Just finding she was always the out on performer on whatever it is, playing football. I play 7 instruments, man. My son don't play. There's a piano here, man. I grew up with a piano. So if I grew up with this, he had the access to it too. He don't play no music.
Yeah.
I coach athlete. I was an athlete. He's an athlete. And the reason why he had that option because his mother provided it for him. My mentality as a parent, I don't believe in giving no child no options. And it sounds cruel, but have you guys seen the story of King Richard?
Not yet.
Not yet. You talking
So,
about what
man,
that?
are you listening? And everybody that's watching this podcast, if you're a father, you guys, especially you guys, need to put that on your to-do list. Watch King Richard. King Richard, I've always admired this man, but his energy, what we speaking on, his presence, America hates it.
Yeah.
And the example of his presence, Venus is worth $42 million or something like that. Serena is worth like 90 something million dollars. And it's all because the presence and the intent of masculine energy in his children's life. You guys need to see it, because the level that they perform at, you would think that he was a terrible man to be around.
Yeah.
That atmosphere.
That's what they portrayed it.
But when you see the story, you'll see that before he shares a story that when he met their mother, he saw how much money female tennis athletes, man, he told her we need to make 2 more children. They
Mm.
made those 2 daughters, and he called those young girls queens, and he called them champions way before. And his intent, he taught them tennis. It wasn't torturous. It wasn't rebellious. They died just because it was other daughters, but those 2, he had a plan all through the story. He said, "I got a plan. I got it wrote down. I got it. Where they are and who they are is because of the presence of masculine energy in their dad." And,
Well, you know what? Even to that point, so I haven't seen that, but I've seen the Janet Jackson documentary.
okay,
You know, Joe Jackson gets a bad rap, right?
right,
Rapper being hard, abusive. But if you watch the documentary, they say, yeah, he was tough. But if he wasn't tough, they wouldn't be the Jacksons right now. They wouldn't be.
Yeah.
Yeah, he saw the talent, and he chose, instead of being just a nice, soft dad he decided, I'm going to be hard and push you to your success because I see what you can be.
Yes.
That's one of the challenges that I have. You know, as my daughter, like she's a honor roll student, AB student right now.
Yeah.
She does pretty good in her sports and shit, and pretty good in her piano. I want to see her do more, but then where am I going to get? Because she is also one of that sensitive type to where she'll shut down. You know what I'm saying?
It's hard because
Where's that
even
thin line? Where's that line?
Janet said that she wished she would have known her father more as a father, but in retrospect, she still respects what he did as a father because she wouldn't be Janet Jackson if it wasn't for her dad's push.
Yeah. See, that's
So it's
present.
like, yeah.
What you said, see, what Janet saying, Venus, being a child to a father is hard when a father loves the child.
Yeah.
And see that one partial part of identity has been removed and snatched away out of the black homes. You know, LeVar, what's the boy name? Lamar, what's the guy's name?
Sports, entertainment, what?
Basketball player, Ball, last name Ball.
The Mellow.
Lonzo Ball.
Okay,
Lamar Ball.
Oh, yeah, LeVar Ball, yeah.
But the dad's name is LeVar, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, now see that presence, man. If every man had that particular part in him about his children, man, this world would be a different place. And see, we dumb down, and like you say, it gets. You look at Venus and Serena, dad. He looked beat up. He got these cuts up under his eyes. And man, the movie explains this. He was getting beat up because these young thugs was trying to holler at his daughter, and all he wanted to do was teach him how to play tennis, and they would beat him up. That's why he looked like that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. You know, it looks like he'd been drinking. No, it shows where he would get beat up because these young guys were. It's one moment in the movie where he was going to go kill one of the guys. Hey, man, check the movie out, man. But his position as a parent, like what you are with your daughter, you talk to your daughter, you ask her what she wants. And if she wants some excellence like what King Richard helped his daughter achieve, it's just one road to it.
Yeah.
And to have a man, particularly your father, and his presence of correction when he's talking to you, when he's teaching you, and it's constructive, it's healthy. It creates Venus and Serena. It creates Janet.
Yeah.
See, and we even with my own son, you know, and that's why I say so. His whole excuse, and I look at him and all children, they run away from greatness because they don't want to, you know, like a diamond. It takes pressure, bro.
It's hard.
It's tough.
It's hard to be great.
And you listening to, I went through that, bro. I couldn't make C's. I had to, you know, my cousins, them, they played outside. I went through that pressure. I had a parent like that, and I've shown the resolve of that by, you know, getting first place, you know, being number one. You know what I mean? And that's because my mom, like I said, if I had some masculine energy to kind of match that, no matter, you know, I'd have stayed in school, you know. I'll be like Quincy Jones right now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know,
Mhm.
but see, just because that masculine energy, that pressure that Joe Jackson caused, that pressure that Mr. Richards caused,
Hmm.
it gets taken away. I'm quite sure you guys try to put pressure on your own children, like you're saying with your daughter, and you're a fold because you think you're a crusher. But how
Yeah.
strong are you trying to make your daughter?
Yeah, I get you. And
You know
that's
what I'm
one thing that, like, one of my best friends, she was telling me, she heard our one conversation between my daughter and I. She's like, "You're just too hard on her." And I said, I don't think that I'm hard on her at all. We have a very loving relationship, but I think that I could be harder because I want to see her do better. I see her in soccer. I see her in softball. I see her at piano, and I see the thing and that she slacks on, and she's lackadaisical about that. And at 14 now, may not affect you at 14, but at 24, 34, and 44, it's just gonna hurt you.
Well,
You
see,
know?
this is where, like I see, this is what King Richards, when you got to be like, forget the status quo, because we need to be the ones that's teaching them about this world and those obstacles, and not their supervisor, not their corporate boss, not the judge at the sports arena. It has to come from the father that if your daddy is tough on you, no other man's obstacles would matter.
Mm.
Mm.
And see, this goes
The
for
word
for us
right there.
with
The
our
word.
sons too. You know, so I was hard on my son. He think hey, I'm hard on you because I love you, bro. Your daddy went through a hard place in this world, and I know that it's gonna come a time when the presence of being tough is gonna need to be there, and you don't want to learn it from the cats in your neighborhood that wear the same colors,
Mm.
or your female partners at the beauty shop, or the cats in the holding tank or the cell. We can go. You don't want Uncle Sam teaching it to him in the military.
Yeah.
Right. Or in a
And see,
prison.
right, that's our presence. And see, this is why I talked to Wood earlier about, I know I can be very abrasive, but I'm constructive, man. I know what it's like to to be a diamond in the making. It's nothing like some real tough constructive criticism that love you.
Mm.
That Joe Jackson love. You gonna be you you instead of you being Mike Jackson, you
Yeah.
Michael Jackson.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
You'd
Yeah.
have been, instead of you being living for Venus and Serena, they got these thick thighs and having these babies in Compton or wherever you're from. Y'all work, say, man, and
Hundreds of millions.
yes, 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 yes.
So, man, let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. And one of the things is, since we trying to build up, and we are closing up to an hour now, but
Yeah.
I want to
Okay,
ask you, with your, and we gotta have you on again, Big Move, man. We
we
done
good.
enjoyed this shit. But man, let's say since we trying to bridge families, bridge dads, bridge sons, what's one thing that you could say to your son right now? Because we gonna put it out in the universe that he's gonna hear this, and he's gonna hear his dad tell his story, a portion of his story.
Brother, by me answering that, you know, I've learned to acknowledge my energy. I'm a masculine energy. I'm tough, and I don't have nothing to say because I've been everything and anything I was supposed to be as a father.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to wake up crying, man, wanting the acknowledgement of my child. I was going through a certain particular type of depression, you know. Um, and I thought I used to comb through every second, even to when I pawned my speakers so his mama could have a pregnancy test to see if he could. My son. He's never been on any food stamps or welfare, bro.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I completely. I went from being a dropout college student to a complete dad that provided it all.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
So protection. He has a name. He has a pedigree. He has it all. He has a throne.
But there's got to be some way to bridge that gap between the two of y'all.
The maturity comes with him. Like I said, there's nothing more I can do. I gave him life and I've given him information and teaching. I
Okay.
got 4 grandsons I'm feeding and pouring into, bro. They love me.
Yeah. Yeah.
They come and touch the piano, you know?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So he just need to look in the mirror. And like I said, I've been trying to figure out something to say that'll be constructive, but Wood knows personally, this world know this community. I pay child support, man, and everybody like you. If you come in my community and say Heshimu and child support, people are gonna look at you crazy because this
Yeah.
child was with me.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So it's nothing more I can say
Yeah.
or do. You know, I still lost to the state. You know what I'm talking about, bro? I've never received an income tax. That's why I stopped working. I'm this boy 28 years old, and I've not received one dime of income tax. And I pay child support, and he live with me. So when I can't come up with something emotionally charged to try to make him turn, because as men in the present, it's all logical. It all makes sense when you
Yeah.
think about
Yeah.
it. You know, so if he's looking at this equation that he's part of, and if he finds something to where he can't even see this, and he can't dispute nothing. And
And
it's not a, it's not
sometimes
a
we gotta have
competition.
that school days moment where at the end of the show, Lawrence Fishburne going around everybody campus,
Wake
tell
up.
everybody wake
But
up.
that's all I
It's
have.
facts.
That's basically all I have, and I'm being transparent. But when it comes to it gets a little bit more deep. Like I said, we had to come back and kind of hit this some more because
Yeah.
outside of being a child, it's all about being a man first, of all.
Yeah.
And you have to want that,
Yeah.
and you have to want what come with that, and what come with that is a lot of valor. You know what I'm saying? Consistency. You know, and this is the generation of running off on a plug. You know what I'm talking about? The mentality from what we were built from. Man, that stuff has no value now. You know,
Yeah.
having character, these boys want to run off on a plug, bro. They not being right is lies, and trying to compete and combat that with chronological events in real time order of a man being a man. Like I dropped out of school for you, G. You know, this what I'm doing. If I dropped out of school for him. You know, I
Yeah.
become a felon for you, G. You know what I mean? And walk these streets with all 10 toes down as a man, as a man, and that's all I have to provide.
Yeah.
So,
But you know what? Um, the youth, they don't they don't really comprehend those things in real time, right?
right.
It's gonna take some time. It may be another 5, 10 years. He'll look back and think about why this happened. Why did this not happen? My
Mm-hmm.
dad said this. My dad did this. It's gonna take recollection. The real time right now, he's living his life thinking, the hell with what he's saying. I'm gonna do me.
Mm-hmm.
Mom said it's cool. I'm gonna do me. It's gonna come a time though. He's gonna need to lean on something,
Yeah.
and he's gonna like, damn, what am I missing? So it may be at some point he may come back to you, and you're gonna have to have that talk. But like you said, right now you got step kids, you got grandbabies, you pawpawing,
Yeah.
you raising them. I see you on Facebook teaching them how to walk to school,
Yeah,
all that good stuff.
I'm doing the same thing I was doing with him, G.
Yeah,
But see, and I know we got to get ready to end.
yeah,
Some of my son's peers that talk to him, man, bro, it's been times some of his peers have called me and be sitting right there in front of my son, and they be chastising him. They be like, man, your daddy one of the realest cats in the world, man. Woo, 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 woo. My son be sitting right there.
yeah.
It was this one kid, man, little blood out here in the neighborhood. He played football for me. I catch him. He was going to the park. This was years ago. He said he's gonna go up there and twist a cat head. And he was walking by and I started throwing a football to him. He started playing football to me. But he came and told me this. He shared this story with me about 3 months ago. He was on the phone sitting in front of my son. He said, Big East, I just want to tell you, man, that day you stopped me, man, and you got me to play football. I was gonna go up to the park and bust a nigga head for messing with my mom. And I never knew this. But see, it'd be so many instances of his peers celebrating me, keeping it real and transparent. And yeah, your son, man, he man, and they'll step off. Yeah, man, he just be going through something. I be on his ass though. It, you can hear what you saying about him coming to me. He'll go to them with that. See, so like I say, it's I don't. I used to try to chase it down. but they start that was like a little small paragraph that was creating drag for me because I have a great job to do. All this information and the data I told y'all that was poured into me,
Yeah.
I gotta pour that out to people that's conducive to it. You see what I'm saying? And just because you know that that one male, I got 4 other males. You see what I'm saying? And I have to stay on my job because they're conducive to it. And see, this is the part where you know I'm not trying to be. I'm trying to be being a great man. You'll become a great father and so on and so on, a great brother, whatever. But you have to want to be that energy. You have to want to have that identity. And I know I've walked like that. That's why I say, our circle, we're not no deadbeat dads. We can't be cool and we can't, you're not taking care of your children. You see what I'm saying? So it's no type of way, my presence is genuine, is real, and there's no fluff in it. But these times are tough for people to really digest reality.
Yeah.
And just so the case, one of these individuals is my son. Yeah. But I say this to fathers, all men, you stay confident. Don't let society or your baby mama or courts define you. None of us are perfect. But we are all men, and we're all trying to do what's right and do what's better for our families and our communities. And I do sometimes think that I wish I could, but I've been failing them though. If I could turn down some of my abrasiveness and my toughness and my attempt to be excellent, but I can't do that. I can't do that. I can't do that because I failed my ancestors, my mom, all that work. I failed, and one, I love him, but I'd rather have an army than just one, and that's a tough thing to say, man. But that nigga won't shoot for me. I'm raising some of the young niggas that'll shoot for me. I got boxing gloves around here. These niggas learn how to box. So this is just a reality that outside of being caught up in the emotions when it comes to our children, it's all about the man first. It's all about the tree. You can't have no fruit without a tree.
Yeah.
If you got a crooked tree, you're going to crooked fruit. And I know I'm not no crooked tree. And I challenge any of my peers and my men to support me and let me know if I am failing. Because I don't mind. I grew up with understanding and digesting constructive criticism. So that's what I say to all men. Examine yourself. Look at how your toes stand in your square. And look what you've done and what you're trying to do, and stay divine with it. But that's a whole nother conversation.
Hey, and we're gonna get into. Hey, you know what, Moo? We're gonna have you back because and we may have to leave Jason out of this one because we're gonna have a government talk podcast, dog. We're gonna get in that.
Hey, you right. I may be as a fly on the wall because cause y'all about to go left and about to go.
No. Hey man, if you want to be right, if you want to be right, you gotta go left, bro.
Here we go. Hey, listen. This again has been a real conversation.
Yeah.
About real shit.
Yes, sir.
That real men deal with.
Yes.
Right. And that's what we're doing. So often we neglect to address issues that we're dealing with. We don't talk about stuff.
Right.
We don't express ourselves, and it's to our downfall. So this platform is crucial, for that purpose. We're trying to get things out there that's been suppressed, that's been overlooked, and empower somebody. So listen, if you're listening, you like what we're talking about, subscribe and like us on YouTube.
We keep forgetting to say that shit in the beginning.
I know. I'm putting on a note on my computer.
You're right.
And rate and follow us on your podcast platform. We're on Apple. We're on Spotify. We're out there, y'all. We're coming live to y'all everywhere we can. So, tune in, follow us. Kings can move on, y'all. Hey.
Kings can move on, yes, sir.
Right.
Appreciate you guys having me on, man.
Big Frank, Big J, we out, baby.
Appreciate you, man.
If you enjoyed that episode, Don't forget to subscribe and like us on our YouTube channel and rate and follow us on your favorite podcast platform.